Hello to those that are hopping on the stream. Just getting ready to get started in a moment. Just letting Instagram rev up here, and then we're going to get started. We are going to be talking about lymphedema this evening, and I have a brief but very informative presentation to bring to you. I hope everybody had an excellent day today. My day was a day. It was a day in the life of an entrepreneur. So that's why I'm on an hour later than my usual time. But thank you so much for your patience. Thanks for your patience with me. I do try my best to be on promptly at 7 whenever possible. However, today it was not possible. But here I am. I did still endeavor to make it. All right. So this is actually an excellent time for anybody that would like to share, comment, follow. If you want to tag anybody in the comments that might be interested in our discussion this evening, I'll go ahead and get the topic up over here on Facebook. And the topic is living with lymphedema today. So we are going to be talking about lymphedema. It may be a term that you have heard before. I have spoken about it on this channel before. Good night, Rain. I have spoken about it before. And if it's something that you have heard about before or you have not heard about before, I'm sure that I will be able to bring something new to the discussion and to your attention this evening. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump in and get started. Okay, so again, I am Dr. Felicia. Good evening to all of you. I am a certified lymphedema therapist and also a certified health coach, and I help women that are genuine, open, and ready for change to basically change their lives through changing their eating habits and their movement habits so that they can enjoy a fabulous future, be here for their kids, grandkids, be able to move around. You know, we have the holiday weekend coming up. You want to be able to do things like freely travel. You don't really want to have to be like, yes, can you call the wheelchair for me, please? You know, we want to be able to like walk, talk, move, do, be, okay, and be fabulous and do it all well into our 50s, 60s, 70s. So we don't want to be all ridden down, and we don't want to be bedridden. We don't want to be riddled with arthritis, pain. We want to be able to, like, wow, like full of having a having a bedside table full of medication. You know, we want to be able to live satisfying, full, healthy lives, right? So, our topic this evening is living with lymphedema. Okay. And just a little disclaimer here, anything that we do discuss in this broadcast, any information that I would give you, it is just general information. It is not to be taken as medical advice. I do not know the specifics of anybody's case, so I cannot give you anything that is specific to you. And I can only give you some general information here tonight. But before we get to the end of the presentation, I will give you some information about how to work with me one-on-one if you are interested. And please do, before you make any changes to your eating or your movement regimen, please make sure that you always check in with your primary care physician or that you're under the care of a licensed healthcare provider before you do so, okay? I don't want anybody getting into any problems here. So, living with lymphedema is our topic. What is actually lymphedema? So, in the event that you have not heard of it before. Okay, so lymphedema is the accumulation of protein-rich fluid in the tissues, so in the soft tissues of the body. And secondary lymphedema occurs as a result of damage to the lymphatic system. It's usually due to some trauma, as opposed to primary lymphedema, which is actually when it is congenital or when a person is born with lymphedema. Okay, and they have different diseases, and in different parts of the world, sometimes secondary lymphedema can be caused by like a parasite. However, in more developed countries like the United States, and I want to say I like the Bahamas, right? Here in the Bahamas, we don't usually have persons that get lymphedema because of the parasite, which it's called filariasis when it's because of the parasite. But lymphedema tends to be most often secondary lymphedema as a result of cancer treatment. Now, cancer itself can also be the cause of lymphedema, and that would be in the case that the tumor itself actually is blocking a part of the lymphatic system or the flow. Now, the lymphatic system is made up of some organs and some vessels and some lymphatic vessels specifically. And they run very, very close to the surface of the skin. Okay. So it's very easy to damage the lymphatic system through other types of trauma as well. And it's really only about 1 centimeter below the surface of the skin. So it's right there at the surface. And that's often how I explain it to when I have clients that I'm doing manual lymphatic drainage on. And sometimes when they have been somewhere else, they would say, oh, they were really squeezing me and going deep. And what I let them know is that you don't really have to squeeze and go deep because it's not the muscle that you're trying to affect. It's the lymphatic system, which is actually right beneath the surface of the skin. But it's interesting, to kind of hear what's going on out there. The good thing about lymphedema is that it is not fatal. Okay. Uh, there can be some complications where infection can occur. And usually there may be some antibiotics involved as a part of treatment if there is infection. And it's important to know, this is why it is important to actually get treatment if a person has lymphedema. It's good when they can get treatment from someone that has specialized training in lymphedema and CLT, complete lymphatic lymphedema therapy. And because then they would know what are the situations in which the treatments are appropriate. Manual lymphatic drainage is not appropriate for every situation, not just because there's swelling. You have to know when not to do it. And that is true for any profession. And even in general, physical therapy or physiotherapy, the physical therapist is trained to know, well, hey, if a person has this, it's safe to do this, this, and this. But if they have that, then you don't want to do those things. So that is very, very important to note. I always encourage persons to make sure that whoever that they are getting any type of treatment or service from, that you actually ensure that persons are actually trained to do what they are doing. We know that the world is a crazy place and the people are out there doing all sorts of things that they are not licensed to do. And, it's very simple. You can always look it up online. You can either call the appropriate governing body, but this is the age of the internet, so a lot of things you can find out online. When you go to their place of business or establishment, you check the walls and you see, make sure they have all of the proper credentialing that they should have. And this is like wherever you go in the world, you should be doing this. So you have to be your own advocate, and you have to make sure that you're looking out for your own health and safety. Okay, but like I said, the good thing is that it is not fatal. It's also not reversible though. So early treatment is good. So early detection and treatment, similar to cancer. Early detection saves lives with cancer. That's the motto. And early detection with lymphedema can actually slow it down from progressing to the fourth stage and stop it from getting there. So you can start to reverse that process. And a person has the greater success if they actually catch it in an earlier stage, very similar to cancer itself. Okay. There's 4 stages, 1 through 4. And there's really, when you think about it, 5 stages, because sometimes we don't count stage 0 or the latency stage before like anything happens. So the latency stage or stage 0 would be pretty much right after a person has had some cancer treatment, but there's no visible sign or manifestation of this lymphedema or swelling, right? But of course, important to also note, not every type of swelling is lymphedema. You do also have just straight up edema. For instance, a person would have edema or swelling for different reasons. For example, like if they sprain their ankle or if they fell down and bumped their knee, or hey, you have swelling when you have dental work done. So there's edema or swelling, and then there is lymphedema, and the difference is the cause. And then you also have certain things that will help you to know if you elevate a limb. Let's say a person has a swollen ankle, they elevate their leg overnight, maybe do some ankle pumps if they can, they ice, and it goes down in the morning by morning. If a person has lymphedema, by the time they get to like the early stages, that will no longer, in stage 1, that would happen. They would have like that spontaneous reduction. When you see that stops, then it could indicate that it's not regular edema, it's lymphedema. So I would say then the person would definitely want to return to their physician, their oncologist, and be sure that they get that proper physical exam, and that they also, their physician would then order tests that would rule out exactly, what is going on. Several different tests that they could choose from: MRI, CT, and they have some more specialized tests for lymphedema as well. So to rule out, because there's a whole like long list of differential diagnosis of things that could cause swelling. So there's a lot of things that it could be, and you want to rule out all the things that it is not, so you could see if, yes, this is truly lymphedema. So a couple of statistics for you, couple of stats. So secondary lymphedema affects 1 in 1,000 Americans. It is more common than primary lymphedema, which affects, I would want to say, 1 in 100,000 Americans. So it's much more rare in the United States than secondary lymphedema. This was a very startling statistic here. 90% of head and neck cancer survivors develop lymphedema within 18 months post-cancer treatment. 90%. So basically, most people that have head and neck cancer and they get treatment, most of them are going to get lymphedema, and that would be in their head and neck. Very, very interesting. So 37% of women with gynecological cancer develop lymphedema within a year. Okay. Not as many, less than half, but it does occur. And just a side note, when it's a gynecological cancer, so if it was, let's say, ovarian cancer or uterine cancer, and then lymph nodes may have been removed or damaged from the inguinal or the groin area, right, front of the hips, which is an area of concentration for lymph nodes, okay? I always like to say that they look like little wads of gum when you look at them on a diagram, or like maybe a little kidney bean, you could say. And of course, when those are removed as a part of an integral part of the lymphatic system, then there's this backup and that swelling. And that would actually occur more so in the legs when it's a gynecological cancer, because of where the lymph nodes were removed from, or where the radiation may have been that would have caused some damage. So when you talk about, and 1 in every 5 breast cancer survivors develop lymphedema, and for them it would be usually the arm that's on the same side that they had the cancer. So if they had left-sided breast cancer, or breast cancer on the left side in their left breast, and they had some lymph nodes removed, or maybe the radiation was in that area and damaged the lymph nodes, then usually that is the arm that would swell, okay? Very rare that lymphedema is bilateral unless the cancer affected both sides. But it does happen, because some people do get breast cancer on both sides. All right. So what is it actually like having lymphedema? What does it feel like? If it's a limb, the limb might feel heavy. The area may have a sensation of tightness or fullness, and that could be a limb or extremity, it's also called, or the face, right? The neck, depending on where the cancer was. There may be also a thickening of the skin, hyperkeratosis, burning or itching sensation to the skin, tightness of the jewelry. I've had quite a few persons say that that's how they first noticed that they had a problem. They tried to, like their rings got really tight. They couldn't get their ring off, or their watch got really tight. And these are some of kind of the early warning signs, I would say. Then when it's getting a little bit worse, then it may become difficult to see or feel the veins and the tendons in the hands or feet. There may be redness of the skin. So there are going to be some skin changes as that worsen as lymphedema would progress through the stages. And if there is no treatment, like I know a lot of times as human beings, we would feel like, oh, and I think that we've all done this at some point because you don't run to the doctor for every little thing. Every time you hit your toe, you don't go, oh my gosh, I think I broke my toe. I better go to the walk-in clinic and get an x-ray and see if this toe is broken. You're probably going to watch it for at least a day or two. Unless it's like yeah, most people, even if they like have a horrible night and they can't sleep that night, they will probably wait until the next day to go and see like, okay, like something is really wrong. So I would say for a lot of persons, we may have a tendency towards saying, oh, well, let me just watch this for a while and see if it's going to go away. If it is lymphedema, it is not going away. It does not happen. It doesn't just go away just like that. It's just going to keep progressing through those stages. So it'll go from stage 0 latency through stage 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is elephantiasis. It's not going away, okay? It's not going to go away if it's ignored. It will not be ignored, okay? So whatever part of the body it is, whether that's a leg, an arm, it will just keep swelling and swelling and swelling. If it's the face or the neck, swelling and swelling and swelling and getting bigger and bigger and not going away without treatment, okay? Because there's an interruption in one of the body systems and, oh, it does not regenerate like how the liver does. It's not coming back. So when it's gone, it's gone. And that's where the treatment comes in because the treatment is like a workaround. So there is no cure for lymphedema, only treatment. So very important to know. So some of the other signs that the lymphedema is progressing and worsening, the arms or legs become noticeably different sizes. The joints begin to feel tight and inflexible. Persons can actually begin to start like losing that dexterity. They may even, due to some of the other side effects of the cancer treatment, they may lose some of the feelings in their hands. Writing can become difficult. Grip can become difficult. And then something very interesting about the bodies, if you've ever noticed that you don't actually get swelling, if you have swelling in your hand, it doesn't occur on the side due to the different texture of the skin here. And this is actually something I learned in a hand therapy course. The swelling will collect here on this side. Of course, notice the difference in the skin. The swelling cannot collect here. It always collects here. Okay? It's going to be on this side of the hand, okay? The dorsum of the hand, we call it. All right, so what's going to happen there? And that's why persons would lose the ability to like really see and pick out like their tendons. Like if I like pop my hand out like that, you can see like all of my tendons there. Sometimes we can see our veins running there as well. You will start to notice that you can't really see them or pick them out, distinguish them, because the back of the hand just gets puffed up. Okay, but this is where treatment comes in. And then yes, puffiness of the skin is another sign that it's worsening. So how does a person or cancer survivor cope with lymphedema? They'll want to learn as much as they can about it, what to avoid. So things to avoid, and this is also for persons that are even in stage 0 latency. So if a person, anybody that has had cancer treatment and has had any damage or assault, trauma on their lymphatic system, they are at risk for lymphedema. So even those persons that are in stage 0 need to look out for these things. Avoid wearing tight clothing. So like really tight, restrictive pants if you were someone that had a gynecological cancer. And avoid tight shirt sleeves if you were someone that had breast cancer. So loose fitting, flowy, comfortable clothing in the sleeve and arm area. Avoid hot tubs or like really hot baths, things like that. Heat can tend to exacerbate lymphedema. You will also want those persons to go ahead and avoid any needle sticks, pricks, on the potentially like at risk side or the affected side. You'll also want them to, and I think this one is the hardest one, avoid insect bites. I had this thought as I was preparing for this presentation. I was just like, well, they better not go to the family island. I don't know how they'll make it. Okay. I don't know. Like, just put off, I guess, but avoid mosquito bites and insect bites on that arm. They also do have, and this is interesting, I just thought of that, you could wear like those insect repelling wristbands. Like if you're someone that likes to garden like me, you try to go out when the sun is not like at its hottest. So when you go out in the evening, the sun is going down, but then the mosquitoes are coming out. So it might be handy to have you that little, that little wristband you can wear, okay, to repel them. But of course, again, not too tight. Or it could be worn on the side that's not the affected side. So you do have those options there. Okay, so those are some of the things to avoid. Even as a prophylaxis, it's good for persons that are cancer survivors that are at risk for lymphedema to get a sleeve to wear as a prophylactic, particularly for when they travel. I would say compliance with wearing the sleeves is one of the major issues, holdbacks, setbacks for persons that have lymphedema, especially being in a region here like the Bahamas where it is so hot. Nobody wants to be like in this full sleeve, and the sleeves can be pretty thick, okay, to be effective, okay, because their function is to help and control the swelling, give compression, okay, so that the manual lymph drainage is more effective. So compliance is an issue, but those would be the suggestions. Those are things to avoid. The prophylactic sleeve is something that a person can wear that would help, okay? And also, I think I need to like make a whole like post about this, because getting a sleeve is not lymphedema treatment. Not just, okay, let me go to the store and let me buy a sleeve. I mean, people have so many, sometimes a whole bag full of sleeves that just don't even fit because there was really no proper measuring in the first place. And a person really needs to undergo, if they already have lymphedema, it's not just let me go to the store and buy a sleeve and slap that on. That's not the full treatment. That's only one part of the treatment. It's a 4-part treatment, and the treatment is only really effective if you get all 4 of the parts. Yeah, just pick out one and be like, well, I'm just going to like put the sleeve on. Sometimes it's not really going to yield the correct effect. Okay, so full treatment is needed. And you'll also, what happens is the person will undergo the full treatment, full course of treatment, and then at the end of treatment, when the limb is shrunk down, then they're measured for a sleeve, right? What happens is people don't get the proper measurement. Perhaps the proper training was not in place for, and maybe there is no real measuring, and it's just kind of like, you look like a medium. And so a person ends up spending a lot of money on sleeves that actually don't fit. But if you go to somebody that is certified, they literally cover all of that in the training. The people that make the sleeves come and they teach you how to measure for it. So that's a part of the importance of going to someone that is actually specializing in an area. So the second way that a person or cancer survivor can cope with lymphedema would be to get the appropriate treatment. Full treatment, not a piece of the treatment, okay? Complete decongestive therapy is actually complete decongestive therapy is a 4-part treatment. Okay, so it's having the proper skin care, because a lot of persons that get to the later stages, there can be a breakdown of the skin, which then causes a entryway or portal for infection, which is bad news because then that's a second problem on top of the lymphedema. So they want to have proper skin care. There's exercise. There is the actual manual lymph drainage, the manual treatment delivered by the appropriate healthcare professional. Okay. Once that person has a proper credentialing, they can literally be They could literally be different. It doesn't have to necessarily be like a specific like healthcare provider. It doesn't have to be a physician. It doesn't have to be a physical therapist. It could be another type of healthcare provider that has had the specialized training in lymphatic drainage and in complete decongestive therapy. Okay, and then of course the compression, okay, which usually is a layered bandaging system. It's quite something. Okay, so number 3, get social support. Okay, there are many different support groups that are available. Even here locally, we have at least 2 groups that are available that can help and provide social support to persons. It is important. It does help, okay, to have other persons there. It's that social support community. People talk about it so much these days, and we never want to miss an opportunity to underscore how important that really is and how it increases a person's chance for success. Okay, and it's hard going through it alone. Okay, so social support. It could be a support group, could be family, could be friends, but some type of social support. And number 4, speak with a mental health care professional. Lymphedema can actually be stigmatizing and cause significant emotional distress. So, imagine it. You've already gone through like this whole cancer ordeal. And then on top of that, now, you have to wear this big, you have like one large limb, or your face is swollen up, or, you have to wear this sleeve. It's almost like having body dysmorphic disorder or something. It's difficult. It's hard, especially when people are adults. Kids are more resilient, and they tend to kind of like bounce back from things easier than adults. It's harder for an adult, for example, to move forward in life after they have had even something like a finger amputated. Imagine a whole limb being amputated. A child is more able to just kind of like take that in stride and just kind of like move forward. Kids are really something else. As an adult, with having seen themselves a certain way for so many decades, at times, it's harder to say, well, okay, now my perception of myself has changed. My image has changed. What I see in the mirror is different. And I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how to deal with that. So it's important to get the correct help and the correct support that we need to get through these different stages and phases of life. Okay, that's basically what I have prepared for you today, this evening. Thanks for your time and attention. I do see that there's a question here. This is a really good question. Did you want to come on live and ask your question, or would you like me to read it out? If you want to come on live, then just send me a request to join, and I will go ahead and add you in. So this is a new element we're adding to the lives. We're going to be even more interactive than we have been. There's no pressure to come on camera if you don't want to. I'm just offering the option. But let me know if you want to, or if you want me to just read out your question. But while I'm waiting for you to respond, I'll go ahead and just give y'all a little bit of an update on what's going on. And also let me know if y'all like 8 o'clock better. Let me know if y'all prefer 8 o'clock or if you prefer the 7 o'clock time. Okay. All right. So it looks like I'll also put any more questions that there might be in there. Okay. And I'm going to just answer them all once I get to the end. Just a couple of quick announcements for you all. So y'all know at times I do have guests join me here on the show. I do expect to have a guest next week, Thursday, I guess 7 p.m. Eastern. I didn't see y'all say yet. We're going to be 7 o'clock next week because that's what I have my guests prepared for. But let me know if in the future you're interested at all in changing perhaps the time. Although my words are kind of like slurring at this hour, but let me know if you prefer the 8. Okay, so let's see. My special guest next week, next Thursday, June 9th, is going to be Megan Wenman. Okay, we are going to be on Facebook and YouTube only. And it's interesting. It's going to somewhat relate to the question that was just asked, which I will get to. And she is a plant-based coach. Okay, so she's a plant-based coach for moms. Okay, but she's gonna come and speak with us because even people that are not moms like me, no kitties, we can all benefit from this information because you hear these terms: vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian, plant based, and how are they different? How are they different? Okay, so Megan is going to come on and speak with us about what is plant based versus what is vegan. Okay, so it's going to be an interesting discussion and topic. Please do be sure to share with your friends, family, co workers what we're going to be talking about, who is going to be on, and what we're going to be trying to accomplish. Y'all know we always try to come here and have a good time. We want to show our special guests a good time. So please do be sure that you spread the word. You're going to see me talking about it more as next week rolls in. Monday is a holiday for us here in the Bahamas, as is tomorrow. This is our first long, oh no, we had Easter. How did I almost forget about Easter? This is another long weekend for us. Okay, and you'll still see me go ahead and like start talking about our live stream that's coming up. Feel free to share it on your pages. We want a good crowd for our special guest, and we want to let her know that we appreciate her taking her time to come and hang out with us. Okay, I've already let her know it's a friendly crowd, and that's next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll definitely still be at 7 next week, 7 p.m. Eastern. Facebook and YouTube only. Okay, so be sure that those that are used to joining me on Instagram, that you come on over to either Facebook or YouTube to watch. Okay, so let's see. Also coming up, challenge. We're having another challenge, y'all. I'm really, really excited about this one. I think I get more excited every time because, every time it gets better, right? So we're definitely going to have more going on in this challenge. Okay, so we're going to be having, it's going to come with a planner. Okay, like a workbook that you follow along. It's going to have space for you to write down your workouts in there. It's got space for you to write your affirmations in there, your fitness goals, track your water. So y'all, like, the planner alone has me excited. Okay, so I put a lot of work into it, and I hope that you all will love it and actually utilize it, right? So it's pretty neat. This is going to be the digital planner that's going to come with it. You're going to have accountability, you're going to have support. So again, that social support, that community aspect. We are going to have a Facebook group. This is going to be the first time that I've run the challenge with the Facebook group. Okay, and there's going to be all sorts of like great things in there. I'm going to be going live in the group once a week, and it's going to be different and deeper than what we talk about here on the Thursdays at 7 p.m. It's going to be different, right? We're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff in that Facebook group. I have so much planned, so I do hope that you all will join me. You don't want to miss this if you're wanting to still get that body right for the summer. Summer is here, but it's not too late. I really don't believe it's ever too late. I don't think it's ever, ever, ever too late that you can utilize and actually get your health together, get your body together. As long as you have breath in your body, there's still a chance. Okay. Let's see. Someone is saying here if they can use that. Well, let me answer all the questions at the same time. This one is actually about the challenge, and I'll have to scroll back and get the other question. Okay, I'm gonna come to those questions, okay, in just one moment. So challenge date is June 27th. There's going to be so much more in store for you. I'm going to keep the details coming. Okay, so make sure that you keep abreast, watch the stories, make sure that you're keeping track of what's going on the channel. If ever you feel like you haven't seen anything from me in a while, Instagram is kind of weird in that way. If they feel like you don't interact with me, then they're not going to show you my posts in your feed. So, and Instagram has had about 10,000 changes so far for this year, how you can view your feed, chronological, all this good stuff. You could have a feed just with your favorites. I don't know if all of these features have hit us yet here in the Bahamas, but if you have the ability to make me your favorite, my channel at I am Dr. Felicia, then please do so that you don't miss anything. If all else fails, just go on my page and like about three of my last posts. Just like a couple of things, maybe make a comment, and then you'll start to see me again, right? Okay, challenge starts June 27th. It's going to be a 21-day challenge. Okay, so 21 days for change. And there's gonna be so much in there. So I'm not just dealing with your body, I want to deal with your mind and all the other aspects of wellness, also, the 8 pillars of wellness. If you want to hear more about it, then make sure that you join me on the inside of this challenge. Also, of course, concierge PT services available for anybody that may have need of a therapist to come to their home, or if you need therapy at home for a loved one that can't get out, then make sure that you go ahead and just either contact me via WhatsApp, DM. I will get it on any one of those channels, and I will make sure that I get back to you so that you can get on the schedule. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is also at I am Dr. Felicia. I'm starting to do more over on YouTube, so stay tuned. There is lots more coming. As always, you can let me know if there's anything in particular that you would like to talk about, discuss, get information on, so that, hey, I can give you more of what you want and less of what you don't. Kara says that she can't wait. Me neither. I'm excited. Okay, so I got a lot coming up. I'll keep you posted as we near the date of June 27th. So let me scan back to this question that was about the diet. So the question is, does their diet change as well? And that's in reference to persons that have lymphedema, right? Persons that have lymphedema, there isn't necessarily a special diet that they should follow, but there are definitely some things that they can do. Okay. And a lot of persons are found that end up getting cancer, right? They're diagnosed with cancer. Most of them want to lead a healthier, more natural lifestyle after that, because it's kind of like once they've done some research and it's like, well, how did this happen to me? And although we cannot control all of the variables, a lot of the variables are environmental and out of our control. But people want to do the best that they can to make sure that they're living the healthiest. Once something like that happens to a person, that major life event, and like facing their mortality in that way, it's it's an event that makes people really look at things differently, look at how they're living their lives, look at how they're eating, look at what they're putting on their skin, look at what they're putting in their hair. You know, everything can change for a person and their outlook after something like that. So, does their diet change? Some people don't change their diet, but some people care enough to do it, and it's a good thing to do. If you kind of realize that's what this channel is really all about. It's really about us making the changes now and not waiting until we have the life altering event. It's about taking control of your will, your body, what you're putting in your mouth, changing our minds about how we see food, our relationship with food, what we think tastes good, as opposed to what is good for us, and maybe changing our mind about those things not being able to be the same. So the diet could change. It should change, in my opinion. But we should be changing it now. We should be changing it before. So many times we are just reactive when we should and could be proactive. So that's what it's all about. And I know that the people that are here, uh, that's what they want. Okay. Change now for a healthier life later. Okay. So I hope that that does answer your question. So that's what it's all about. That's what this work and this mission of Adley Physiotherapy and at I Am Dr. Felicia is all about, right? So also, if you want to follow me, I'm on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Let's see, all as at I Am Dr. Felicia. Also on Clubhouse at I Am Dr. Felicia. Still, well, pardon me, Facebook is still Adderley Physiotherapy. And let's see, I'm on Snapchat also. Is Snapchat like still a thing? Somebody let me know if they're into Snapchat. Okay, another question here. Can you use your debit card or will it be PayPal? And this is in reference, I presume, to the challenge. Once you go through, it's actually once you go through, it's gonna take you to PayPal, but you can of course use your card there to to accept the payment, or pardon me, to make the payment. Okay. Yeah. If you also want something else, you could do a direct transfer. You could just let me know and I'll send you the information. Okay, so there's actually several ways to pay. That is going to be the best way, is to go through the online system as it's going to be set up, because everything is going to be automated. So then you won't have to worry about getting your emails, getting into the Facebook group. You're going to be out of the loop if you actually don't go through the whole like system step by step. So I'll give you the link when it's ready so that you can kind of go through the whole process, which actually your card should work with it. Even if your PayPal is an issue, your card you should still be able to just key in your card. Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. So I think that those are all of the questions. Those are all of my announcements. Thanks again for being patient with me this evening. Today was really just a day in the life of an entrepreneur, and it was a quite interesting a day. Okay. So, it's like that sometimes. All right. So that is my presentation for this evening. Thank you for coming, even though I was an hour behind the times. I appreciate your presence as always. So if there are no further questions, I am going to go ahead and sign off at this time. This is Dr. Felicia here, making the world healthier, one woman at a time. Bye.